through this process. I found a scripture written by the Apostle Paul in 1 Peter 1:13. It read, "Prepare your minds for action. Exercise self-control." I thought that was perfect. So I wrote it out and I put it on my bulletin board so that every time I needed to refocus, I could look up, read it out loud, and get back to work. Florence Nightingale continued where Peter left off, saying, "I think one's feelings waste themselves in words. They ought all to be distilled into actions which bring results." We have just endured a season of preparation with our minds being stretched and self-control tested. I remember listening to one podcast where a student said, "You cry in nursing school. Nursing school makes you cry." And how many of us can say, yes, that is very true. However, here we stand. But it's just the beginning. The way I see it, we spent the past year constructing a foundation. Now the question becomes, what type of nurse will be built upon that foundation? I believe Peter and Ms. Nightingale gave some insight. Peter spoke of the mind prepared for action. Ms. Nightingale spoke of action to create results. For us, our actions may result in healing or the opposite. I am confident we all agree healing is on our agenda. I'd like to share a story that kind of illustrates that point. We all just completed, or are nearing completion, 180 hours of preceptor practicum. I spent the bulk of mine in a rural med-surg unit, and we saw many different patients on that floor. One woman was in between orders. She was being taken from acute care into hospice or comfort care. She was in a great deal of pain, and we were unable to give her anything because we did not have the orders yet. She'd lay in bed and her legs would ache. We'd get her up, put her in the chair, and the pressure ulcer on her coccyx would begin to throb. And there was nothing we could do until we got those orders. I began searching my mind for a solution, something I could do to make this woman feel better, or at least distract her from the pain. I remembered my father-in-law. He loved head rubs. One of my favorite memories was seeing his kids all take turns giving him head rubs as he sat in his easy chair. And it was a favorite memory of theirs, of their dad. And I thought, I wonder if she'd like a head rub. So I asked her, I said, "How would you like a head rub?" She thought for a moment, and she had kind of this perplexed look on her face, and then she looked at me and she goes, "I don't believe I've ever had a head rub." And I said, "Oh, they're the best. My father-in-law swears by them." So I started streaming some soft music and giving her a head rub. Pretty soon, she began to relax in her chair. And then a little bit later, she started sharing with me some of her concerns and fears that she had, that maybe she wasn't quite ready. Maybe she hadn't gotten prepared enough. And we walked through that together a little bit. And then pretty soon those orders came in, and we were able to give her suitable pain medication. Not long after that, we were able to put her back to bed, and she fell asleep. This experience illustrates for me powerfully action being born from compassion. That indeed, we must remember to keep compassion at the forefront, because that will guide everything we do from that moment on. And simple things make big results. Over the past year, we've gained a tremendous amount of knowledge and skill, which is extremely important. But may I humbly challenge us all to remember, knowledge and skill has limitations, and they can become cold and callous things without compassion to warm them and shape them. So in closing, turning once more to Ms. Nightingale, let us never consider ourselves finished nurses. We must be learning all our lives. Congratulations, we did it.